Welcome to the experience of the Triple T Josie Gray Show, where truth and transparency in life's challenges bring help, hope, and healing.
Listen now as Josie tells the truth about personal growth and spirituality, relationships, health, and finances.
Tell the truth, Josie. Well, thank you so much again for joining the Triple T Josie Gray Show. Yes, this is an extension of our previous show, that we did for Mother's Day. Now, in that show, I shared with you that we were going to also interview Chyna. Needless to say, you can tell she's very unexpected and not very happy, but she's compliant, so we appreciate that. Now, this is not going to be long, so here is my first question for you, Madame. Ready? Mm-hmm. All right. You asked me earlier, I think it was your first question, what was my greatest joy about being a mother? I want to pose the same question to you. What do you love most about being a mom? Give a little bit. This is we can make sure the camera's recording you.
I think it would probably be watching them grow and become into who they are going to be, I guess that's a way to put it, because as they grow, their characteristics change. Like,
you just taking my answer.
No, it's serious, because like Kelly was always quiet. Like, even now she don't really cry much, but she's bossy. Like, she be tearing her brother up. And Mason is just goofy, and he'll talk to anybody like his daddy. I'm not the one. Kelly not the one either.
So it sounds like he's taking on more of his dad's characteristics.
And Kelly's more like me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just watching them grow and build relationships with each other because they so cute.
They are adorable, and I can say that because they're my grandkids. In light of that, based on what we talked about earlier, from your experience with me and me bringing you up, being my first child and whatnot, what can you say you learned not to do with your children? Don't you say everything?
I don't know.
Think about it.
I guess.
And it's okay. Be truthful, because that's what this is about. It's the Triple T Josie Gray Show. Tell the truth. This is an opportunity where you get to grow a little. I mean, you get to maybe possibly even heal a little bit.
I don't know. I guess it would be probably maybe like you were saying about how you treated us and stuff and were hard on us. Probably that, because sometimes I feel myself being really hard on Mace because he's at that stage where sometimes he'll want to listen. Mm-hmm. So I'll have to, instead of getting upset, I'll have to be like, all right, just go stand in the corner because I don't want to resort to always popping him when he don't do something that he told, because he don't really get fazed by it. But if you take something from him, then he kind of listens more. But I mean, like you said, each child is different. I don't really know how Kelly will go with that. But with Mace, he's not really fazed by getting popped much. So you gotta, like you told me, take stuff from him. So I guess that would be a thing. Don't resort to, like, physical,
they call it child abuse nowadays.
No, what is it? Physical, dang. You know,
I'm gonna make you pull it out of you.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm kidding.
It's physical, like, discipline. Physical discipline. Instead, resort to other things that they love. So I think that would be one thing.
I can say too, in light of what I said earlier, or actually, which was now this is going to be considered last week. But one thing I learned not to do as well with my grandchildren is what I did with you all, doing the opposite. Because I remember us having conversations about, you can't do that with Mace. They don't phase Mace. You're going to have to do this. What's his favorite toy? What's this? Is looking for other ways to teach them a lesson. Mm-hmm. Because many times we have to remember nobody learns the same way. Nobody responds the same way. Nobody reacts the same way. Nobody is going to have, even if we both read the same book, we're both not going to get the initial or totality of the same response or same understanding. Children are the same way, where you got to remember they are just different. So, I won't go off on that tangent. But anyway, Now here's another thing. If there's anything you could change, anything, now notice I said anything, start thinking. Anything you could change at all about motherhood, what would that be? And it could be more than one.
I guess it would probably be when I became a mother, because I'd rather it have been when I was, like I didn't really mind it being before I finished college because that was a choice that we chose to make.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I would have rather been, I won't say in a stable place, but like having a career or like interning or something at least towards my degree, so that I knew that I had a promised position outside the military because I hadn't got out yet. So I guess that would be it, like just more promise career-wise, because that way I wouldn't really have to worry about like what the next steps would be after graduation. So I guess that also concerns being more prepared to graduate, because a lot of people intern before they end up graduating, but with all the different stuff I had going on, it didn't really cross my mind at the time to look for internships that would help boost my resume, so that when I got ready to graduate school, I already had a career lined up. So I think that would probably be one of the biggest things.
You said a key word, prepared. And I think a lot of times, it's two things we forget. Number one, there are things we can do to be better prepared for parenting, marriage, parenting, careers, and etc. But there are also things that we will never know until we experience it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, we kind of are hard on ourselves because we didn't do certain things that, thinking back now, well, my Lord, doggone it, why didn't I do this and why didn't I do that? Because I had you also at a young age. Yes, I was married, but when we got married, I got pregnant. So 10 months later, I was having my first child. And a little over 10 months, actually. And I was having my first child. Although we spaced out between you and Jasper 5 years, that I definitely don't regret. But the thing was, we were trying to be better prepared for the next child. And we still really weren't, because each child is different. We tried to get things different. We tried to, I tried to spend more time at home with you, which you were the child that I was able to do that with. But it's just things we never would have known, because you never know what life is going to deal you. You don't know the hand it's going to deal you. So, do you have anything that you want to say about that?
No.
Okay, good.
I think that's it.
Now, if I wouldn't necessarily say that we have regrets, but I just asked you what you could change. But that's not necessarily a regret. Would you say you have any regrets in beyond what you just said? I don't consider that, again, a regret, but would you say you have any regrets as far as your children, or anything about when you got married, or the time between your children, or anything like that? Do you have anything you would say, man, one of those things that make you sit back and say, I don't even really want to say that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything like that you would like to share?
Well, I don't think that I'm, I don't regret at all the distance we had Kimmy and Mace, because we did talk about that, so that wouldn't be it, because I love the relationships that I seen in another pair of toddlers, so that's when I wanted to do that. And if I'm not mistaken, Earl wanted them closer. I wanted them spaced out. So now, after that, we kind of agreed to have them closer, but I guess the biggest regret would be the fact that we didn't really focus on us. Like, once we had them, and at the age that we had them at, we were so worried about making sure they were okay, we didn't really make sure we were okay.
That's good.
Because of the fact that they're toddlers, they need this, they need that. So we got out a little with Mace, but once Kimmy came along and we had two of them, we didn't really spend enough time on us. We spent more time on them, so we kind of lost touch. But I think that would be the biggest thing, that in anything, when you have children, especially when they're close together, you can't forget about your relationship with your spouse, because your relationship with your spouse many times depends on how your children grow up.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And again, children do what they see. Now, that doesn't mean that your children are going to do everything they see. Mm-hmm. But it has an effect on them that we don't really even realize, even when they're young, because of things they see or things they don't see because of the situation, things they don't get to experience because of the situation. And, things about, shoot, I can say that when we had you, you came so quick. That was, I didn't even ever think of that, but that was really good. That was really a wonderful answer, because when we had you, it was all about you. With everybody, kind of like what I talked about earlier, where all the attention left me and went to you, and I didn't even really know how to get beyond at that time. It took me a minute. I finally got through it, but I didn't really know how to get beyond what we need to do and what we don't need to do. One thing I will say, and this is kind of off subject, but I want to say this. One thing that I really appreciate about the fact that God sent you first, and I know this is your show technically today, but I'm making a point, is I said in the previous show that you were born to a little girl, a baby born to a little girl. One thing I do appreciate about our relationship is, and was, you and I got to do a lot of things that mommies and little girls get to do. We did the tea parties, which was really Kool-Aid. We did the little snacks and everything, with the little things on there, whatever, the little on the plates and little stuff that we make, and we go outside and play. We did the hopscotch, and we did the jump rope. We did so many things that, ironically, Jazz and I never did. We did baby dolls, hair, and God knows, I promise to God, I think you punished me when you got in my hair and I was the doggone baby doll. But you used to wear me out. I'm like, oh my God. But here's the point. One of the things that I learned now from our relationship, looking back, is that you can be amazed how even tough love, even though it wasn't always the right kind of tough love, actually later on made us closer, because you do appreciate, I didn't always say it the right way, but I still did it, and you knew that I had the right intentions concerning it, because you could feel my love for you. And that being said, I think that you're doing a phenomenal job, even with Mace, when you have to be tough on him, he still knows you love him. That's why, kids they're forgiving, they run right back to you, and the thing about that is, that being said, to connect that with what your answer was, we often forget how showing that other person that love and affection and, acting silly, the touching, the things that we don't always do because we're so attentive to the baby, we have to remember, kind of like what I said, you all were still kind of like a little girl and a little boy in a woman in a man's body. And that's why it's easier for you to play with Mace and have fun with Mace and Kinley the same way that I did you. And it's nurturing for that part of you that was the little girl that was still inside and the little boy that's inside of him. But like you said, what about that part where the grown-up needs to be nurtured? So in that being said, is there anything you would like to say in conclusion and in closing to our audience that you feel is most impactful that came out of this session that, I can't pull out of you, but you would like to say to somebody else? And you can look right at that camera and tell them. That camera, I'm sorry. That one.
That one?
Yes.
Okay. I would say that even though you're a parent and that you have children to raise, just don't lose yourself, because it's important that you remain who you are so that your children understand who you are. And not only that you remain who you are, because at the end of the day, they're going to look at you for who they're going to become.
That's right.
They pick up your traits and what you do. So I think that would be the biggest thing. Just don't lose yourself whenever you become a parent and get so engulfed in them that you forget to take care of yourself.
Wonderful. High five. That was good. Well, again, thank you for watching. This is the Triple T Josie Gray Show. We hope that you've been impacted by the show. Like, share, subscribe, tell people about it. Don't give up on us. We're just ramping back up. As you can see, we're now starting to have interviews. So if you have a story that you feel like you want to get out, we can still have you on our show by audio with your picture and via phone. So if you have something you want to share, you feel like you want to get a message out, you feel like you have something that's going to impact and make a positive impact on someone else's life, contact us. Again, you'll see our contact information at the bottom of the screen. This is the Triple T Josie Gray Show. Thank you so much. Make it a great one. Have a marvelous one. And again, this will conclude our Mother's Day tribute. Look for something else great next week. Have a great one. Tell them all bye. Bye. As she said, deuces.